Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's round 4 of stage 2 AAOL match we're bringing you tonight. Tonight's match is between PPE Bot Squad, who are yet to win a game in this stage, against a more formidable opponent, Lese Esports, who I believe are undefeated in this stage. Alongside me on the cast tonight is Queso. Good evening, Queso.
Oh, hello Swift, how are you?
I'm alright, and so we're gonna head into Ilios as the first map tonight, followed by Watchpoint Gibraltar and Horizon Lunar Colony in that order. And of course, Hammond is now enabled for AAOL matches. Queso, do you think we'll be seeing Hammond this evening?
I'm not so sure about Hammond. I think that he's a very niche pick and he has certain uses, but quite
Very
significant.
Very useful on these control maps, though.
Quite possibly. There's a bit of boot potential, but I think, as we're seeing right now, lots of standard comps, I dare say, on this map. You know, Lese Hog for both teams. Actually, it's looking like a mirror comp for both sides here, so that's going to be a very interesting one.
And this is probably the most common and like one of the oldest compositions on this map as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it doesn't get more classic than this, really. You know, the Eraser Hog and Lucia, obviously, for the boops, plus Farah for her concussion blast. So we should be seeing both these teams, you know, striking onto the point, and it'll very much be a case of whichever team has the highest, perhaps, skill potential here will take this map. As you see, it's a mirror composition.
Well, I don't have anything to be excited about yet, but let's wait and see how these teams face off against each other. As you mentioned, we're seeing mirror compositions here on both teams, but it's going to be Intellicide on the Farah, finding an early pick onto Tiger Bro. The Resurrect does come out, but won't be able to resurrect that one as Frickle Dickle gets a kill onto Shooter McGrab. And Tiger Bro takes the Farah out of the sky, so Intellicide will be down for now at least, after putting in a lot of work there on that Farah. And so it's anyone's game at the moment as these teams are brawling it out on the point, over the well. Roadhog's looking to get hooks in, of course, in that halt. nothing yet. So one of these sides is going to get another, need to get a pick, and Vero on that Pharah is very low, 27 HP. Mercy does come in to get that resurrect. Kmart versus Target gets a very good halt there, I think, onto shoot McGrav. So still fighting it out. No one's in control of the point just yet, but we are getting some ultimates being built up now.
I think, yeah, what we're seeing here is the classic case of mirror composition causing havoc on this point. No percentage being ticked up yet, so that's a really interesting thing to see, especially because these teams, as you said, won all of their matches and one hasn't won any, so it's proving to be quite equal.
Early and well, it's a very, very strong rocket barrage there, but a trade does come out, as does a resurrect, and well, Intellicide uses a resurrect of his own, but it gets taken out by Tiger Bro in the act. And Vero on that Pharah is going to get rezzed. So finally we're going to see some control percentage start to get built here now. Okay, so that was a very, very long fight.
Yeah, I mean, let's take it back to the start there. We saw Intellicide was pumping in so much damage on the Pharah into the side of PPE bot squad here, and they were coming onto the point almost with no health, and as you saw, Intellicide got the first pick, but ultimately the fight dragged on for so long that it evened out, and in fact bot squad got control.
It's going to be PPE bot squad with an early advantage until that resurrect came through, but it won't matter. Vero on that Pharah looking very formidable thus far, and he will get a counter pick onto the other side's Pharah, so Intellicide taken out as well. So I think what we're seeing, well, we're just seeing Frickle Dickle switch off of that Roadhog now onto that Zarya. So we're going to see a little bit of change now, and so got a very big ultimate advantage at the moment. PPE bot squad almost got that Deadeye online, that whole hog. Of course, got that rocket barrage. You might see it in just a moment, and we do. There's going to be a rocket barrage come out from the side of Lese Esports. Vero, of course, does find Kmart v Target in that rocket barrage, who's now on that Reinhardt. Lucio is able to take out a Pharah, not something that we see often, and so PPE bot squad are looking quite strong at this stage. It was an impossible resurrect, but it got off, and well, Lese might be bringing it back a little bit now here, Queso.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what their strategy there was. They sort of took the lighthouse, or the windmill, sorry, side and rotated behind PPE bot squad, and it was a little bit unorthodox. I think it's proving to be quite ineffective as they're yet to take control of the point, and we're seeing, you know, their DPS and bot squad doing a lot of work and taking down everyone, and also credit to Calistan there as well, getting some very key boops. So
absolutely. Well, I think the bot squad had an advantage probably up until that point. Of course, we're in overtime now. They're at 99%. So all it's going to take at this point is for a member of Lese to get off the point, and overtime will tick down very quickly, and it does right there.
Yeah, that does strike me as an interesting round though, because Lese looked like they had so much damage, you said, and saw Intellicide at the start pumping in so much damage into the enemy lines with that Pharah, but at the end I think that Lese were just a little bit weaker on that sort of a little bit weaker on the Orisa Hog composition, and as a consequence PPE bot squad will take Ilios well.
And that's interesting too, because as we mentioned just before the round started, PPE bot squad are not the favourites going into this match. They haven't won a game yet this stage. Lese Esports undefeated this stage, so PPE bot squad are definitely bringing the challenge to them. As we now come out onto our second stage of Ilios, it's going to be Ruins, and so we're seeing different compositions now from these sides once again. Stark running that Moira, but a Widow battle, of course, very important on this match, and it's on this map. And Tiger Bro is going to take out Intellicide. Marble does find that pick though onto the Winston, but a DMAC Diva as well, and so Lewd Catgirl on this Mercy having trouble keeping the team up as Lese Esports take out their enemies one by one. Vero is able to find that pick onto Intellicide though, so Intellicide on this Widowmaker hasn't been able to do anything yet. Getting
Yeah,
killed
that's
very hard.
Unfortunate, because I know Intellicide to be a very strong and a very effective Widowmaker, and as a result, if he's not getting value and constantly being pressured by the Tracer, perhaps that's going to be difficult for him to shine.
Despite losing a lot of members early, PPE bot squad are still in this fight as they get 3 picks if you count that Diva D. Make that 4 with a pick onto Intellicide. Once again, I'm not sure if Intellicide has picked up a single kill yet, Queso.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Again, I saw Vero again taking him out, and as a result, it's allowing Tiger Bro to basically go uncontested in that Widow duel, and you saw there, both of the supports were taken down, some nice snipes from Tiger Bro, and as a result, Lese Esports completely collapsed as a result. So
absolutely, Queso. And so Intellicide obviously feels like hasn't done anything on that Widow, so he's just switched onto that Brigitte now. And as a result, as well as some ultimate mismanagement, you could say, from the side of Lese Esports, it's going to be PPE bot squad with quite a considerable advantage, but they do lose their Zenyatta, they do lose their Diva Mech early. Resurrect does come out, but I don't think it's going to matter at this point, because Lese have found a way to pick up some kills, although they haven't won this fight just yet, and Kelsatan on that Zenyatta does find a pick onto the enemy Diva, and so they're trying to keep this one alive, PPE bot squad, although I don't know that they are going to be successful. Perhaps they'll stall it out a little bit here now. And crucially, they've got an advantage now in terms of control percentage.
yeah, but coming into this next fight, it does look like Lese Esports are going to have quite a lot of ultimates available to use, and they're holding nice and close, getting a little bit more charge as well, and denying PP Bot Squad from contesting that point, so it's doubtful. We should see what happens.
That rally does come out from Intellicide, and I think it does make quite a difference there. That Diva Bomb, of course, comes out there. Doesn't find anybody, and well, now the Diva's going to get demeched with the Winston taken out for the side of PPE Bot Squad early. And that was a very quick fight win there from Lese Esports. And so, imagine Queso, there's only one team fight, maybe 2 at best now. PPE Bot Squad don't really have any ultimates online that they can use. Tiger Bro might have that Dragon Strike in just a moment, but it's going to need to be a big one.
And it's looking like they're opting for a Far Mercy combo now as well, so perhaps that will bring them a little bit more fortune.
Very lucky to escape that Diva Bomb, of course, the Far Mercy in that situation. Winston, of course, has been getting taken out a lot. Dr. Mackerel there on the Winston, been the first casualty of many of these team fights, so I think losing their tanks early in these team fights is costing them. The Rocket Barrage does come out and it finds 2, but that's not going to be enough, and Loot Cat Girl's not going to be able to get a Resurrect off there. Unfortunately, in Queso, Lese Esports bringing this back, and we'll be heading to Lighthouse.
Yeah, that was a very close game there, as we saw, but ultimately I think it just came down to which side had more ultimates available, and Lese Esports won a team fight pretty decisively without having to invest much, and they went up in that ultimate sort of battle, and then they were able to hold on to the point with superior ult economy. That being said as well, I think that there's a couple of compositional things. Not entirely sure whether Bot Squad were perhaps pressuring, let's say, enough with their DPS, because obviously when they were contesting the Widowmaker and Intellicide not getting any space because of Vero, that's when they were at their strongest, but after some switches, that made it harder for them to retain control percentage.
And we're going back to what we saw on Well, of course. Similar compositions from both sides, and Vero and Intellicide on the Pharah for their teams. And it's going to be Shooter McGrav with the first kill there on Lycosis, but the support are traded out. We're getting a few trades now. Tiger Bro probably with a crucial pick there onto Stark on that Mercy, and they're going to get a Resurrect off. So PPE Bot Squad, a few early casualties in that team fight, but they have brought it back, and they're very close to capturing the point now if they can take out Lycosis, who came in again late. So they're going to reset Now, let's say Esports. Queso, what do you make of that fight?
Yeah, that there was a really nice, nice play by the tanks on PPE bot squad. Dr. Michelle was in deep early in that fight and did a lot of damage to the supports, and that was followed up on by some nice plays by Vero, and as a result, they gained a pretty big advantage.
Few early trades in this fight, and the Resurrect is coming out, and it does find Kmart versus Target. Though both Mercies on each side have been taken out now as well. Vero with a rocket barrage doesn't need it to take out his counterpart in Telecide, with a few direct rocket hits there making a difference. Gonna need to try and get a couple more kills now to clean this fight up. Unfortunately gets taken out by Lycosis there. And Diva's going to get demacked, but Lewd Catgirl is able to find a Resurrect there onto Vero, which is going to make a big difference. But a self-destruct now coming out from Frickle Dickle, doesn't find anybody, and now with Lese in control of the point and a few picks there, back to the drawing board now, Queso, for PPE bot squad.
No, I was just watched Lewd Catgirl there get taken out by Winston's jetpack kill, and it reminded me of a bug that I think I saw a little bit earlier, which is that his jetpack now does the flat damage regardless of the distance away from its target, and I think we might have seen an example of that just there, because Catgirl had quite a bit of health and yet was quite far away from that jetpack kill, so I'm not sure whether that is perhaps still a bug that needs to be ironed out.
Vero very low in the sky there, but Lewd Catgirl on the Mercy is able to get in there and top him up. We are seeing the Transcendence now coming out from the side of PPE bot squad, but Lycosis also uses that sound barrier, so both sides very keen to win this team fight now, as that rocket barrage comes out from Telecide, and now rocket barrage from Vero, and that rocket barrage is going. Both sides used a lot of ultimates in that team fight, but PPE bot squad will be relieved they're back in control of the point.
Yeah, when it gets to that sort of scrappy throwing out ultimates almost without care, it's going to be a bit of a roll of the dice to see who gains control, and fortunately for PPE bot squad it was them, but more devastating is that Lese is down in ultimates and down in time with only 30% with which to capture the point.
Each side losing a support now early in that fight. And I think we're seeing two self-destructs now. Unfortunately for Frickle Dickle, while he was waiting for his suit, he got taken out. Lycosis, though, does get a boot kill onto Lewd Catgirl. Just finishing the Mercy off there, I think. And so we're getting very close now to 99% for PPE bot squad. And they're going to need to do something radical now to bring it back. But unfortunately, Marble gets taken out there by his opposing Tracer. So it's going to be a brawl now for control of the point, because PPE bot squad are very close to winning it, and let's say Esports, they know it, so they're getting some important kills now to try and get control of the point back. But PPE bot squad aren't giving up; they're giving it their all, and they do find a few kills. And they've got to be careful too. Let's say Esports don't want to give that point up in overtime, and they won't. Marble finding 2 kills there at the end on the Tracer to round out the fight.
Yeah, Marble's Tracer is certainly an interesting pick. Sometimes he's very effective, and perhaps other times his effectivity wanes, or effectiveness, I should say. But that being said, it looked a little bit sloppy on the side of PPE bot squad there. They had 99, they probably should have just pulled out and gone for the recontest, but they perhaps held in a little bit too long, and as we see, Lese's got 15% remaining to win this map.
And both sides have a few ultimates online now. Stark using that Valkyrie quite early, and there comes the rocket barrage, and Telecide solo ulting Vero there. Vero had a ultimate of his own, but the pulse bomb does find Kmart v target on the Winston. So both sides are now down as we're in overtime, 99 versus 99, and Telecide takes out Tiger Bro, and the Resurrect comes out late onto Kmart v target. And so PPE bot squad now looking very dire, as they only have one person on the point. Vero on the Pharaoh does come back, does get a rocket barrage at that does take Stark, but it's too little too late in Queso. I think for PPE bot squad, they maybe mistimed that last fight, maybe through no fault of their own.
Oh, I'm not so convinced. I think that they The second to last fight there, they should have pulled out a little bit earlier, a little bit faster, and done a clean reset. I think that they were perhaps calling winnable in their chat for a bit too long, and as a result, they engaged for more than they perhaps should have, and I think that spelled a bit of disaster in the end. That being said, I'm actually pleasantly surprised, because if you said to me, if you hadn't said to me that these two teams are completely opposite each other in terms of maps and match wins in this stage, I would certainly have considered this to be a very close game and a very fair fight between two even.
Absolutely, and this is as close as it gets on control maps, of course. One stage apiece, and then 99 to 99 on the last stage. So Ilios very close. Unfortunately for PPE bot squad, they just fall short, and so it's going to be Lese Esports taking that first map. And of course, we are going to watch Point Gibraltar next, our escort map, in just a moment.
What are you most looking forward to, Swift, or no, Watch Point Gibraltar? Do you think we're going to see any Hamston? Hamston?
Hammond perhaps on Watch Point Gibraltar. There are some parts of this map where you can utilize him quite well. Of course, lots of things to grapple onto and swing around on. So, of course, I'm expecting both of these sides seeing early picks at the moment too. So Tiger Bro and Intellicide on opposing Widowmakers. I wouldn't be surprised if these sides run double sniper either. Of course, Intellicide had a lot of trouble on Widowmaker, on Ilios Ruin, as we just saw. So it'd be interesting to see if he can get back in the game a little bit. Vero looking very good on Pharah on the last map. Probably back him to pick Pharah at some stage on this map. I don't know. What do you think PPE bot squad need to work on if they are to win this map, Queso?
I think they just need to keep it up, because they were looking very strong, and perhaps they just need to work on a little bit of a disengage call from their support or their main tank, or whoever's doing their main calls, because I think that they tend to over-engage a little bit, and sometimes throw out ultimates and things that they need later, and they use in a perhaps losing team fight situation. So that's what I would be looking at. But if we consider purely the team compositions coming up right now, I think I'm very pleased with the bot squad's decision to run a dive tank sort of defense with the double sniper, perhaps control two sight lines, and punish any sort of shields or situations that are happening from the attackers. And I think certainly with the comp that Lese are running, it's possible to take full advantage of those snipers. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen.
I am too, and so we're seeing similar compositions from both of these sides. Once again, Marble on the Tracer for Lese Esports gets taken out very early by that Diva, and Vero using that Storm Arrow very effectively, and does find a DMAC onto Frickle Dickle as a result. Intellicide hasn't found anyone with that Widowmaker yet, but he is sending out a few bullets. And so, slow and steady here from both of these sides as PPE bot squad fall down into what is known colloquially as the car wash. Intellicide looking for these sight lines, hasn't found anything. Vero now in a good position to use that Storm Arrow, and gets another kill there onto Stark, and so that's going to be costly for Lese Esports. But they do get that kill on... Oh, both Winstons now taken down on either side. Tiger Bro and the Widow gets a pick onto Marble, and the DMAC once again comes through. Vero using this Storm Arrow very quickly, and of course putting out quite a considerable amount of damage, Queso.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not entirely sure what I'm making of this situation at the moment. The team fights are a little bit chaotic, and it doesn't look like there's a lot of targeting happening. PP Bot Squad coming ahead, I think, by virtue of the defenders' sort of advantage on this first point. So, I'm not sure what I'm making of this at the moment. I have to see a little bit more, I think.
It's going to be PPE Bot Squad the first casualty of this team fight. As we're seeing a sniper battle there between Vero and Intellicide. Intellicide awfully low without much healing in sight. And Tiger Bro finishes off Kmart v Target there on that Winston. The Resurrect does come out. Intellicide does find the Widow pick he was looking for with a nice D-mech there as well onto Frickle. So Vero holding relatively strong now on the cart as that Transcendence comes out now as well from Lycosis. Both sides now with the Transcendence out, but Lycosis, these balls of death, takes out Vero, and came up v Target is able to take out Calsation. The Dragon Blade, of course, comes out from Marble, does find Winston, and their Tiger Bro there on the Widowmaker is taken out as well. So it looks like a lost team fight now for PPE bot squad, but they were able to hold at just before point A for 2.5 minutes, Queso.
Yeah, I think the real strength of PPE bot squad there was their support staying alive for so long. They are always in a good position, and I think Calsation always gets some nice picks, keeps the Discord Orb on a reasonably logical target, and Mercy is using a Guardian Angel very effectively. That's Lewd Cat Girl.
Very unfortunate. Lewd Cat Girl got taken out there by Intellicide while healing your teammate, and I don't think we saw that one coming. Intellicide gets another pick there onto Tiger Bro, so Intellicide was struggling a little bit earlier on the Widowmaker, but definitely justifying his pick now with a couple of kills. Unfortunately, this baby Diva's going to get stalled out, and PPE bot squad will hold for a moment more.
That being said, though, I think that Vero is back on the Tracer, so Intellicide may be facing his Achilles heel here with quite a bit of pressure if Vero puts on the same display as we saw on Ilios.
Intellicide being very persistent there with the body shots onto the Widowmaker. Lycosis proving to be very crucial in getting some of these picks, and does use the Transcendence as well. So Primal Rage now coming out from the side of PPE bot squad. Tiger Bro finds a pick onto Intellicide on the Widowmaker as the self-destruct now comes out from Shooter McGrab, and another self-destruct also out from Frickle Dickle. So self-destruct does find a kill onto Lycosis, but it is resurrected. But Lese are going to be held up here just behind the doors as they take a moment to group up and come back in through the right side, it looks like. So the pressure's on. And the Dragon Blade comes out from Marble and finds Lewd Cat Girl from the get-go. And that's a very crucial pick, as well as the one onto Tiger Bro. Vero does find a kill there onto Lycosis. But PPE bot squad are going to get pushed back a little bit now. And it's looking very decisive now for Lese Esports. And the payload's going to keep moving, Queso.
Yeah, well, I think that there was the strength of Marble perhaps on that Genji pick. Got a good couple of initial engages with the kill onto, as you said, Lewd Cat Girl and Tiger Bro, and that really opened it up for them to sort of snowball and win the rest of that fight.
Seeing a lot of aggressive Winston play too here from PPE bot squad, putting the pressure on self-destruct there just to get mech back, I think. Tiger Bro gets the pick there onto Lycosis, but Frickle Dickle with the micro missiles gets a kill onto Tiger Bro, and so we're seeing a few trades here. Mercy's down from both sides. Calsation also down, so PPE bot squad don't have any healing at the moment. And they're going to try to keep the pressure back on, and we see there another self-destruct comes out. Doesn't find anything. Primal Rage does find the baby Diva though, and it looks like... well, I don't know, Vero and Tiger Bro getting picks there, so... it's still anyone's fight at this point. Tiger Bro quite low up top, hasn't got any healing, but isn't being pressured and does find some damage from afar as well. Looking to take out Stark on that Mercy. Doesn't find the Mercy, and Marble realizes he's up there, takes him out, and now uses a Dragon Blade. He's going to try and finish this fight off, but gets eliminated. Vero, crucial kill. And PPE bot squad are looking good, but they do lose their Winston and Diva mech. Almost in overtime now. Tiger Bro misses a crucial headshot onto the Brigitte, who's now coming in. Lycosis on the Brigitte just switched off from Zenyatta to try and keep this team fight together, but it's not looking very good for them as the Transcendence comes out from Calsation, I'm sorry. as well as a few kills as they finish off Marble. Kmart v Target and Stark taken out. Pulse Bomb comes out and Teleside, I think, loses his life to it, and that's going to be PPE Bot Squad holding very strong just before point B, so.
Yes, indeed, and I think that was an exceptional display from PPE Bot Squad there. They're definitely showing that they have what it takes to perhaps get a map win and equalize this series. Obviously, it was very close on that first Ilios map, and we're seeing a very similar display here. PPE Bot Squad definitely showing that they have equal, if not better, DPS in many respects, and they're taking full advantage of how aggressive their tanks are, as you say, Dr. Michelle and Shoot McCrav, always going in nice and deep and in the back lines and causing a lot of disruption. In that last team fight, I think I'd question a couple of decisions made by, let's say, Esports as well. I think Marble pulled out a Dragon Blade when there was very few people of his team alive left on the point, and around 3 PPE Bot Squad members, which strikes me as a bit of a panic ultimate, and very quickly lost his life without gaining anything from that, and then had to engage again without his ultimate, and as a result, you see that at the second point gate wasn't being able to push that to that second point.
Yeah. Okay, so as we mentioned earlier, when the games are this close, timing is key. And so if you mistime something even by a few seconds, if you throw out an ultimate or die a little bit late, then it can be costly.
Absolutely.
Because all it takes at this point is to lose a single team fight, and it could cost you the match. And so I think that's what we saw at the end there from, let's say, Esports. Perhaps had more time than they thought, but weren't able to get their timing right for those team fights. Probably missed out on an extra team fight that they could have had. But they're going to be on the defense now as PPE Bot Squad coming out. Vero on a Doomfist now, so I'm excited, and he gets very aggressive there and takes out Stark early. But Dr. Marshall on the Winston gets taken out. A Resurrect, of course, is there for him. And Teleside gets that pick onto his counterpart Tiger Bro on the Widowmaker. Vero getting low on the Doomfist. Loot Catgirl flying in to top him up. But it's not enough because Intellicide gets a pick onto him on that Widowmaker. And they are still pushing the cart. But Lese Esports dropping down now, and so PPE are going to need to get back to spawn and group up, Queso.
Yeah, that was a very good engage initially by PPE Bot Squad. They had the Doomfist in, got the very crucial pick on the Mercy. Obviously, she can't resurrect herself, so that is a clear advantage when you get that opening pick. But then it looked a little bit disorganized, and the tanks were sort of all over the place, and they weren't able to follow on. And I think the stronger teamwork of Lese prevailed.
So they're going to be on the high ground here now. PPE Bot Squad taking the fight to their opponent, and unfortunately they're not able to do anything. Both tanks get taken out, followed by Vero on the Tracer, so that's an unfortunate but quick team fight, and they're going to go back to the drawing board now. Not really many ultimates. We haven't seen many ultimates yet, but there are, well, going to be 5 ultimates online next for Lese Esports, and so let's see how they use them. They're looking very strong though on this defense.
Yeah, again, what I saw there was that it looked like Dr. Michelle dives in without her Mercy, without her Diva, and gets melted very quickly, which is unfortunate. That being said, she does have Primal Rage this time, so that is a very strong thing to keep you up. Large health pool, and Vero does get 2 picks, which is crucial here. Hopefully they're able to capitalize on this numbers advantage, and Mercy is also taken down while in the middle of a Resurrect. Just self-destruct does come out from Frickle-Dickle, but doesn't catch anyone, as everyone from PPE Bot Squad ducks for cover. Kmart gets a jetpack kill, but ultimately will be taken down by Tiger Bro, as PPE Bot Squad gets some much-needed traction on this point.
So Vero putting a lot of work there on the Tracer. Unfortunately, they probably won the team fight a little bit too early, because there is time now for Lese Esports to come back in, and Marble with the Dragon Blade doesn't find anything, but puts a lot of pressure on Tiger Bro and is able to finish him off there. Vero with a kill onto Stark, but unfortunately they've lost both of their tanks. Vero putting in so much work. Unfortunately for him, his teammates are falling all around him. Kelsation is able to take out Marble though, and Vero gets yet another pick on Telecide, and unfortunately for Lese Esports, they forget about the point for a moment and aren't able to contest. So thankfully for PPE Bot Squad, they do capture point A.
Yeah, that was a little bit unfortunate there. They definitely won the team fight with their sort of Dragon Blade from Marble, but then they, I don't know, abandoned point, and PP Bot Squad, I think I saw Vero popping off very much so in that fight, got a couple of extra kills towards the end, and they pushed it to the point with, let's say, not exactly sure where they were or what they were doing, and I think they're going to be kicking themselves because they're already over halfway to this map's conclusion.
Yes, they haven't really grouped up yet, let's say Esports, and so the payload, even now, still moving. Don't know, panic self-destruct maybe out there, or maybe just for a remake. In any event, Kmart v Target does get the pick onto Kelsation with Marble demecking Shitter McGrav. PP Bot Squad still looking very strong despite losing their Widowmaker, but it won't matter too much because Intellicide is also down, and so are they going to get a capture? Not yet.
Yeah, that being said...
Sorry.
No, I was going to say PP Bot Squad has so many ultimates here, and they're deploying all of them at once. It could be fatal.
There might be 2 minutes on the clock, but they're very keen to win this fight here and here, which might be a mistake in the long run, but there's only 0.84 meters to go. They're looking very strong now, and unfortunately for Lese Esports, they're not on the point. In any event, they probably... I think PPE Bot Squad looking very strong there. They put in everything they had. They wanted to win the fight with 2 minutes to go, and that's what they did. And
it was looking very dire, unfortunately, for Lese when they, I don't know, C9'd, I suppose, on that first point with only around a minute left, and then again it looked like it would flip back into the favour of Lese when PPE deployed more like 4 ultimates in the span of about 3 seconds, but they somehow, and I don't know exactly the exact details, and you'd need to watch the VOD back because so much happened, and they managed to get the numbers advantage up. I think I saw Dr. Michelle with a lot of getting a lot of utility in that final fight. Obviously, as you know, the Tesla coil from Winston does multi-target damage, and that can perhaps be slow form of damage, but a consistent form of damage, especially when they had the unless they had the Brig Eater, and you know, that can block a lot of damage, but obviously not that electricity. So in the end, their PPE managed to cap out, and Lese are going to be looking a little bit worse for wear here as they concede a map to potentially a lower team.
Yeah, well, they did win the first map, but not by much. Both of these sides playing very well this evening, so we are 1-1 after 2 maps, and we're now heading to map 3, the decider. Map 3 is going to be Horizon Lunar Colony. And just a reminder, if you're joining us for the first time this evening, Hammond is now enabled in AAOL. We haven't seen any Hammond yet aside from in Spawn this evening in this game. Opportunity, of course, for some use on Horizon Lunar Colony.
Well, yeah, it's his home map, but I don't...
You're all about the lore, aren't you, Queso?
I really am. I do very much enjoy it, but...
Always bringing our viewers that lore.
I don't know.
Appreciate it.
It's potentially... I don't know, it's sometimes hard to keep track of. It comes out in, you know, like Michael Chu tweets and stuff, and, you know, perhaps they just need to, you know, make a movie or release a novel or something already, but...
Overwatch Bible.
I don't know, see, I think Hammond, despite this being one of his home maps, Junkertown, I guess, being a second one, there's not really an opportunity to use him here. No sort of good, like, sort of hook spots or, you know, sort of columns that you can spin around, so...
I don't know, I've seen a lot of Seagull playing Hammond on this map.
Seagull can make anything work on any map, though, can't he?
Well, that's true.
Very good.
Marble on the Junkrat on this defense. Marble, very good player in his own right, but he's looking a little bit outdone by Tiger Bro and Vero. Very dominant DPS forces on the other side. I should say for that matter, Intel's side too, very good player. Although this DPS duo of Vero and Tiger Bro, um, very formidable.
Yeah, and looking at what's happening or what's coming up now, it looks like PPE Bot Squad are gonna go for a sort of goats style attack here, which, as we know, is quite effective. However, it can face its Achilles heel almost with the Eraser, Diva, and Junkrat combination holding high ground, which can deal a lot of damage, dish out a lot of pain, a lot of hurt to goats comps, and yeah, I'm looking forward to see who's able to prevail.
Give credit to Vero, well, and for his side for this composition that they're running now. I think perfect composition for this attack that they're going into, and they're being very aggressive as well. Marble finding that pick onto Lewd Catgirl on that Moira. Frickle Dickle finds a pick onto the opposing main tank, and Intellicide takes the Diva right out of mech. Tiger Bro taken out on that Brigitte. So I don't know. That was sort of, I don't know what to make of that team fight.
Well, yeah, no. See, what happens there is, and I personally experienced this pain playing Moira on against this composition. Somehow, Junkrat mines just get you. Like, I don't even understand how it happens. And Lewd Catgirl is facing the same pain. She just gets eliminated randomly by Marble on that Junkrat, and you think, you said, well, how? Where was that damage from? And ultimately, without that main support, the rest of the team has no choice but to crumble.
Unfortunately, that Riptide got low, but it didn't get taken out, and so they're going to lose their Reinhardt PPE bot squad. And so, Lese definitely capitalizing on that pick, and they looking to overrun the point now. They do take out Tiger Bro on the Brigitte, and they demech the Diva as well. So they're looking in a very strong position now on the point, although they do lose their Diva mech as well. And Vero nearly gets a Graviton Surge, but gets taken out from afar by Intellicide, who's also able to take out that baby Diva. Stark able to get a Resurrect on their own Diva as well, and Lese Esports holding very strong, and not even a tick to be had there, Queso.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate team fight there for PP Bot Squad. It looked very strong at the start, but then I think as the team fights wear on, PP Bot Squad lose a bit of focus, they lose a bit of sight of what their objective is, and unfortunately for them, they don't capitalize on an early advantage.
Rally coming out from Tiger Bro, going to keep his teammates shielded up, and the Graviton Surge finally comes out from Vero. Marble's going to try and match it with a Riptide, and it does connect onto Vero, so Vero loses his life, and Lese Esports holding very strongly here on point A. Marble putting in so much damage at the moment with the Junkrat.
Yeah, I think here is a bit of the consequence of running on Moira over a Mercy is that that PP Bot Squad get an early loss in the team fight and unable to res.
At this stage though, look, Calsation putting in so much work on this Lucio. These supports for the side of Lese Esports are making a huge difference now, and they look like they are going to be able to capture Objective A with just about 45 seconds left on the clock.
Well, better late than never. And as you said, I didn't really think that. I think that was carried almost solely by Lewd Catgirl, Shooter McGrav, and Calsation. Again, based on the fact that they're also all on fire. So a bit of support.
Vero and Tiger Bro on these DPS roles being really dominant this evening, but these supports are winning that team fight for them. So self-destruct just came out there from Frickle Dickle, and a few trade kills, and so for PPE Bot Squad, they're going to try and use the momentum that they have to try and take the point, but unfortunately for them, they do lose a few members. Vero and the Widowmaker finds 2 quick picks, and it won't be enough. So back to the drawing board once again for PPE Bot Squad. They almost did take a tick there. Very close.
Yeah, fortunately, they've got plenty of time to try again, and I think that they might be switching up a couple of additional heroes as well now to, yeah, it looks like they're going to go for that Reinzar for this second point attack, because, you know, the Ghost composition, good on first point, but you need a bit more, perhaps, sustain, a bit more control with the bubbles. Not the sort of like, damage reduction and things like that, so looking forward to this point.
Marble in the back lines causing mischief, getting an early pick there onto Vera. Gets resurrected, but in the meantime, Intellicide with a pick onto Tiger Bro as punishment. So that Tracer Marble causing a bit of distraction there for PPE Bot Squad as they're looking to make an entrance onto the objective. Calsation gets an early pick there onto Intellicide. So they're going to look to capitalize on it with a Graviton Surge and also that Sound Barrier coming out from PPE Bot Squad. Throwing a few ultimates into this, but they haven't got any others to throw into at this stage. But they might not need to. Getting a lot of picks now. Unfortunately, no progress on the point, and that is a huge Deadeye case. So Intellicide single-handedly saving that team fight.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a very tenuous position, and the triple kill, and then followed up with a bit of additional damage from Intellicide.
I thought PPE Bot Squad had absolutely no chance of losing that team fight, but Intellicide for Lese, his team's got a lot to thank him for.
Yeah, that was a pretty important and pivotal ultimate, and I don't think that Vero had any defense matrix to eat it up, and yeah, unfortunately, it was all over.
Lycosis with an early pick there onto Lou Catgirl and the Moira. Moira able to take out Intellicide though, so we're even now. Till Frickle with a pick onto that Reinhardt. Calsation again, putting in so much work with a pick onto the Diva. It's not going to be enough. Lese looking very strong once again on the defense, and so with 1 minute 30 on the clock, they're going to stall this Diva out, which is going to be a pain for PPE Bot Squad. And so they're going to have about a minute by the time that they group up. Perhaps one team fight left, two if they're lucky. They might have some ultimates to use, but Lese Esports building up a very nice bank of their own.
Yeah, I think that Lese is showing again that if they control the ultimates, yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate.
Not sure that was a stick onto Tiger Bro, but does find him nonetheless. Shoot him a grab. Going to be one of shooting that grab very shortly, as it has had it online for a little while. Might be looking for something to combo it with, although they don't really have anything to do so. That Diva Bomb's still a little while away, and so it looks like at this point PPE Bot Squad might need to engage an all or nothing approach.
Yeah, and PPE have also switched back to that goat style composition, perhaps thinking the Reinzar was not effective for them, and unlucky.
Very unlucky, and another crucial Deadeye coming out from Intellicide. Finding a lot, so I think they're going to be forced now to take another team fight, but not on their own terms, as Lese Esports absolutely capitalizing on the position that they've found themselves in. Pushing up.
If you can see, if they can get back, if PPE can get back to the point, they have superior ultimate position with almost all ultimates on the line, and they're looking like they're taking a bottom path straight onto point. Lucio has a speed boost, and they're ready to engage.
Look, it's going to be the last team fight now. They've got 6 ultimates to use. Graviton Surge comes out. Haven't found any kills yet. They're throwing absolutely everything at this, but it's going to be them that take the first casualty. Vero falls victim to that self-destruct. A few kills now out for PPE Bot Squad, but they're going to need to come up with more than that. They've used absolutely every ultimate they've had. Shoot him a grab gets taken down by Marble's Riptire. And things are getting very desperate now for PPE Bot Squad, with members on the point getting awfully low. They do find 2 picks, but they forget that they need to be on the point, Queso.
Yeah, and that's really unfortunate because it looked like they had a very good number advantage.
Point, yeah.
And I don't even think they got any control percentage, so that's a really unfortunate last team fight there for PPE Bot Squad, and obviously now, let's say on the attack, they're going to need to get 1 point on that point A, and then 33% on point B.
Full hold not out of the question, though.
Full hold not out of the question, and tie also not out of the question if Lese are able to capture the first point, but do not concede the second or any tick / control percentage on the second, and I think there's a potential to see a tied map here, in which case we would
have a tiebreaker.
Yes, so
at this point, if anyone's just joining us, first two maps, each team has a map apiece at this point. So we're on map 3 now. Both sides having their ups and downs. I mean, they're very evenly matched at this point, which is not what we expected, considering these sides, one's undefeated and one hasn't won a game yet this stage. So, very interesting match on our hands tonight.
I'd leave it up to the audience at home if they have not seen who is in the lead to pick the side, because they're very even tonight.
Alright, so it looks like, at least for this defense, Lese Esports running a familiar composition. Vero on the Junkrat, though. I don't think we've seen that this evening. Tiger Bro back on that Widowmaker. And Lewd Catgirl on the Mercy. So
yeah, looks like they're essentially switching comps. As you can see, Lese is on that.
All night.
Yeah, Lese is, as you said, on the goats, and PPE Bot Squad using a very similar defensive stratagem. And it looks like Lese are going to go for the underneath the point where the defenders are holding.
And they are going to go straight to the point, so it's now going to be up for the defenders to drop down, and they do start contesting just before that tick's taken. But Kelsation loses his life early in the team fight to Frickle Deckle, and at this point it looks like PPE Bot Squad have been absolutely overrun by Lese Esports. Lese Esports with a much cleaner execution of this attack than we saw from PPE Bot Squad, and with going to have about 3 minutes on the clock before they get their bonus time going into the next round. And of course, all they need to win is 1 tick now. So the best that PPE Esports can look for now is a draw, and they're going to need to hold very strongly here for 7 minutes. And if that defense was anything to go by, it is going to be a challenge, that's for sure. And so, early trade, Sea Marble taking out the main tank was probably crucial. Although Stark, well, goodness, 4 kills now between the 2 tanks for the side of Lese Esports, and what an anticlimactic way to finish such a close match, Queso.
I think oofed best describes that final attack there. For PPE Bot Squad, that was certainly not how I had envisaged that to go. I think that Lese has shown that they have a very good goats attack, and not only did they steamroll first point in about 50 seconds, they managed to take point B in around another 30 to 40 seconds. So yeah, very well played, showing the power that goats can have, and ultimately Lese comes away with the second map win that they need to win this series.
And so we mentioned before, of course, PPE Bot Squad hadn't yet picked up a win in this stage, while Lese Esports are undefeated in this stage, and that's how it's going to continue too for Lese Esports, looking very dominant in their Group B. So that's where we're going to wrap up our broadcast of tonight's match between Lese and PPE Bot Squad. I'd like to thank everyone for watching. Queso, thanks for being a formidable casting partner as usual.
Yeah, thank you. Been very enjoyable this evening, and it's always good to cast alongside you.
Thank you. Too kind. And thanks to Zero Aim for streaming tonight's match. Very reliable streamer for us. So thanks again, everyone, for watching. Don't forget, I think, Rise Up on tomorrow night, and our regular matches again next weekend as well. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again shortly.
Bye-bye.